This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Shirts for the Scene. Head over to the popkoproject.com and you can purchase your favorite band tee. It is no secret that 2020 has sucked a big fat one, right? Artists and musicians have had to cancel almost all of the shows, which has really hurt them financially. Grab a shirt, support a band. The proceeds of each sale go right to the bands whose shirt you are buying. Once again, head over to the popkoproject.com and grab your shirt today. Shirts for the Scene is made possible by Axelrad Screen Printing. Visit them at axelradarmy.com. My guest today was an account executive for The Weekender from 2008 to 2009. For those of you who don't know, The Weekender back in the day was the Bible when it came to arts and entertainment in Northeastern Pennsylvania. We went deep on this one, from job losses to marriage struggles, lost friendships, to fertility issues and child loss. But one thing that remains the same, The Weekender for each of us laid the foundation for where our lives are today, both as people and professionals. This is The Weekender Files. Welcome to the show, Jane Clements-Smith.
Are you having a drink?
Jane, it's the holiday season. Of course I'm having a drink.
Season.
I have, and in fact, I have a Shiner Holiday Cheer.
Oh, is that a local?
No, but it is distributed by our friends at LT Verastro.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. I am drinking a Trogs Haze. Trogs is in Hershey. It's another Pennsylvania brewery.
It is. It's fantastic there, too. I was there last year. I couldn't get there this year because of COVID. But
I know. Ugh.
I know. Jane, that's a huge glass, by the way.
I know. Well, you know what? It's a huge
Jane,
glass.
I actually have some Trogs in my cooler here. See, so you said you packed a cooler, and I decided that's probably a good idea because the last one of these I did with Mike Lillo went 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm hoping this doesn't go that long. Not that I don't want to talk to you, but that was a long time. But I do have...
No, absolutely. But I couldn't let it be hold on, can I go get a beer? So I was I'm going to pack a little cooler here.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to keep this to an hour because we want people to watch it all the way and listen all the way through, right?
Sure. Of course. Right on.
But
I've got some Trogs. I've got the double blizzard.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
And I have a Mad Elf.
Hazed. Oh, Mad Elf. Okay. Yeah. I can't do the Mad Elf, that's a DUI. That's a problem.
Are you driving right now?
Well, if you recall, I say DUI anytime you're drunk enough to do something dumb. That's a DUI.
Which is most of your life, right? Maybe not these days. Not these days. You're grown up now.
I'm very adult these days. I'm a mom.
Yeah, a mom of two, right?
I am. I'm a mom of two.
Crazy. It's crazy.
I got a daughter named Louise who calls herself Wheezy.
Wheezy?
Like the rapper. And
sure.
So yeah. I got Wheezy and Livy. So yeah, no, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
But I swear it was yesterday that we were partying in Wilkes-Barre.
It feels like yesterday. And it also feels like an eternity. And that's why I wanted to do this, was because, the weekend is such a short-lived experience for a lot of people, including yourself. Jane, you were an account executive at The Weekender for a whole year, 2008 to 2009.
Yep.
Made it a whole year. But
it was the coveted place to work. So remember, I was 22 and came in working with Times leader executives, which sounds good on your resume, but I'm watching The Weekender people and they're having fun as a job.
Yeah.
So I was hell yeah, I'll go over there.
Yeah. So let's start there. What were you doing prior to The Weekender? You just said you worked at the Times leader. What were you doing over there?
I was assistant.
That sounds boring as fuck.
So the Times leader had recently been purchased by local investors. And they brought in Richard Connor, who was the publisher, believe it or not, when I was born in Wilkes-Barre, and left the area, had done a bunch of other things, and they brought him back. And this is weird, but I was babysitting his daughter on a Saturday, and he was like, "What do you want to do with yourself?" And I said, "Marketing." And I chatted him up, and he was like, call me Monday morning. I want to interview you. So I did show up to this interview, and he's like, I need somebody who's going to work between this marketing agency I hired in Scranton and our senior executive team. I just need them to be like the go-between. You start tomorrow.
That sounds like Rich.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I did. And it was wild because, cause like I said, like my first day, even like I reported to Scranton at Lavelle Murray, who he had hired, Helen Lavelle, who was like, it was baptism by fire. I mean, within a month, I was standing at PNC Field, speaking to 5,000 people about our partnership with the Philharmonic with a microphone on the field. Like, it was crazy and fun and wild. But then newspapers weren't doing so well. And the first thing to be cut was marketing.
Don't say that.
Well,
Do not say that. They live in fear of loss.
They always live in fear of loss, but it was like, so, I think Rich had these grand ideas. A lot of money was spent. The return was tough. And so marketing was the thing that was cut back. And they, I think they would have liked me to do advertising with the Times Leader. But like I said, there was this opening over at the Weekender, and Rachel Pugh was on the senior executive team. And I had already been on the cover of a Weekender. I don't know if you recall that, but I was on the cover of the Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. So that would have been.
Oh, yeah. You were like laying with the gift cards, right? And you had the hood.
It wasn't gift cards, it was credit cards.
Credit cards. They're the same shape. The same shape, Jane.
Wrong card, Johnny. But anyway, yeah, credit cards, like very excited. Like,
and the hat with the fur around it, right?
Yes. I also, prior to that, dressed up as Elton John and went down to the Kirby and played the piano for a big promotion. Rachel had me dressed as Elton John. Yeah.
So you were just like our mascot almost.
It was the mascot. So I was really excited to come over to the Weekender at that point. And you were like, I still remember, I mean, it was intimidating because you were like, Johnny Weekender. And like, I was like, I'm going to prove I'm cool enough here. Like, this is going to be fun. But like, it was a tight crew over there. You guys were like family, and I was the newbie.
But you fit in so well. I mean, you're a Looney Tune, right?
I immediately fit in very well. Yeah. I mean, as long as you have a good and appropriate joke and you can like, hang and drink a beer. Yeah, I was in. It was great.
Yeah.
Awesome. It was so fun.
You're right, though. It was such a close-knit family, and it was so sad when people would leave. It was almost a double-edged sword because people would leave, right?
Mourning. Right. You guys were like still like mourning, like, the old days. And I was always like, oh, I'm new, but I still think it's fun here. It's still really fun.
Because you kind of
like I left and I was only there a year, and you guys would be like, man, it sucks. Like Jane left. And I was like, man, I really miss, it was fun. It was, we can get into why it was fun, but I explained that job to more people than any of the jobs I've ever had.
And I want to get into that too, because I feel like every person has their own story about why it was fun for them. But yeah, it was sad to see people leave, but like, it was also cool to see who would come in next, because we never had I shouldn't say we never had one that didn't really fit in, because there were a couple that I won't say, but yeah, it was always an exciting time. It was an exciting time in my life in general. That's why I wanted to do this. Yeah. But yeah, so you came over in 2008. What were you expecting?
Like I said, I was in such like a professional corporate like world over where I was. And I was like, yeah, I want to do this thing where like, we're going to get out there. You're kind of like a radio personality. It's like you have radio personalities, you have television personalities, and we were like this tabloid magazine personality. And there are like, various bars that like you go to in Wilkes-Barre. And like, this sounds dumb if you're not from a small town like Wilkes-Barre, but like when the owner of X bar and you're like, I'm going to tell you like these deals and I'm going to help you get more people in there. I mean, it was just a really exciting time. And these businesses needed us as much as we needed them. So you're like in there talking to this person, and you're like, you also realize like you're totally bullshitting with a lot of them. You're like, all right, come on, like get this done. And like in the beginning, it's like this nerve-wracking thing. I'm this new person. I don't understand it all. And then after a while, you're like calling people on their shit. And you're like, come on, get a bigger ad. Come on. You got that band coming in. You need this bigger. I always laugh though. Like what I was not prepared for was the back of the Weekender. That is the story I tell like everyone. I'm like, here I was, this like St. Joe's graduate.
Oh, give me a break. Give me a break.
I'm working for the publisher. I'm doing big things on the square. And then I go to this thing. And next thing you know, I'm sitting in Wilkes-Barre outside of a massage parlor, waiting for the guy in the white Mercedes to finish up. He goes to his car, and then I come with a girl with just a top on who hands me a wad of cash.
Yeah.
And you're just like, thank you.
So I don't know how that stuff works. Like I dealt with the same thing you dealt with, but like I still, to this day, I am very curious as to how the process works, right? Like, and I'm kind of almost insulted.
Are you talking about like placing an ad in the Weekender?
No. The actual massage and then the.
I don't understand it either. Like I was like, yeah, what just happened here? And like, they'd be like, yeah, come get the money. And like, so you'd show up and you'd sit there and then they'd be like, hold on. And then next thing you know, like, you're like this man, who looks like well-dressed, is driving a white Mercedes, blah, blah. And like, he's like sneaking out and then I'm sneaking up and it never smells good. Like it never smells good. It's like a array of ethnic food, but not in a good way. And you're just like, and this girl smells like a combination of sex and cigarettes. And you're just like, okay, like this guy like needed to come here for like, I don't know, back massage.
Sure. If that's what you want to think.
I don't know, but I just know they lived on our ads. Like, God forbid, you'd think like, oh, these people, like people are coming in. It doesn't matter. They're not looking in the back of the Weekender for the special. They probably know their spot. You missed one ad. Like that massage parlor was calling like, you missed the ad, blah, blah, blah. It's like going to affect their business for the entire week. Like they live, like, who are these people? And then you'd have like the strip club owners who would like bring a stripper with them to the Weekender to like pay me. And like those people like had no teeth, these women like almost had no teeth. And you're just like, people are paying to go in there. And then this guy's credit card is like decline. And like, he's like, just run the ad. I'm good for it. And he's like, get my Beamer. And you're just like, well, like, Rachel said no. And then like, I hide behind Rachel. Like, I don't know, he's here. You're just like, all right, yeah, this is what's happening right now.
Yeah. But I want to know how like the process of the massage. Like I want to know. I've never been in one, and I don't know. Like okay, if you're getting a massage, like is there like a word that you use that says you want more? Do you just pay extra?
Go ahead and say like these places, you're getting more.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm also kind of offended that like I was never like offered. Like I dealt with a lot of them, and I thought, hey, this good-looking guy. I don't want to toot my own horn because I don't think that of myself. But like compared to them,
come on in, the water's fine.
Compared to them, like I'm in a suit and I have a tie on, and now it's never like offered. It's probably better off.
It's all about the money. I'm telling you right now, it's all about the money. I think if you were like, hey, I'll cut you a break. They'd be like, all right.
I'll give you a free color. If you give me
I'll take care of you. But they were really, these people were all about the money. Like every dollar now, like every semen infested dollar was counted in your hand. Like it was like, and you're just like, oh God, like taking it from them. But like, yeah, it's all about the money. But I think that it is like expected, I would assume. But then sometimes I'm like, are these people just actually paying? Like, this is the naive part of me. Like, are they actually just paying to like look at this girl? And like, couldn't they do better?
Well, I think what happens is like, you do that because, they're not going to tell on you. Right. Like if you were to like, do that with someone you knew or that you would see more often or whatever, like, or it might run into your.
Johnny, I told you I was going to talk about this. This is
Be careful.
prior to Tinder.
Okay.
Prior to Tinder and Hinge and all of these other places where you could easily get access to whatever you want.
Right.
And so I guess, yeah, because like, like back in our day, like some of them, like I can't remember, Elite Massage or something it was, they even had billboards. So like they were making bank. Like they were
legit, yeah.
You're like, wow, holy shit, there's a lot of people going to these. But like today's day, I don't think those, I don't know, I haven't looked in the back of a weekender in a while, but like maybe those don't do as well because today you could literally like put yourself up on like an app or 5 and be like, yo, I want a massage. If you know what I mean. And you're like,
well, maybe that's what they're doing now.
Money for it. You don't need to exchange money for it.
There you go.
So I'm in the process of a divorce. And so I'm like just newly on, it's okay. I'm just newly on Hinge and Bumble, right? So like, do you know about the dating apps? Probably not. Because
I know the names. I mean, like you said Hinge before. That's new to me. I'm
Marriage is great. I hope yours works out. Marriage is amazing. People are really great. But like, if it doesn't work out, let me tell you about these apps. So first of all, you have Tinder, which like everyone knows Tinder. Tinder's like, I just want to get laid. So
is that what that is?
I mean, basically, that's not like the initial swipe right, swipe left. So swipe left, you don't like them. Swipe right, you're into them. If they swipe right on you, you match and you like can meet up. Now, like you could like see some people are like looking to meet their soulmate, and I'm like, why are you on this? But like, I've looked at them all. Hinge is a little more datey, but you might get some people. And Bumble is the woman makes like the call. So it's like, I'm on it. I see Johnny Popko. I hit like, yeah, all right, I like your picture. Now you have to like something on me. Now it says we match, but I have to like reach out to you first. So we can match or you can like me. But like, if I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, we'll never connect.
Well, it's kind of cool though for the guy, like in the sense that, you know where you stand.
Right. So like Hinge, like, you kind of like match, get a message, and then like you could be the bitch who doesn't respond. But like on Bumble, it makes you the woman respond. Here's the thing. All right. I've gotten now in the last like week, it's like this. This is like with the picture. And you're like, okay, that's a hand. And it's like 43 married male looking for a FWB. And like, I'm so naive. I'm like, FWB.
Fat, white, babe?
Friend with benefit.
Oh, that's okay.
So this is a married man. So he's like this because he doesn't want anyone to know what he looks like.
Sure.
He'll text pictures if we connect. Or like, exclusively polygamous male wife may join. And so like the first there's like this good looking guy, the sex pictures, like he and his wife, and they're like, hi, she may be in for the play or not if you don't want it. Then I got like another one, like 34 male, 32 female, looking for our unicorn, somebody for her to play with, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh my God. And they're like in my township, like, and I live in like a small little township. I'm like, who are these people? And they're like liking my shit. I'm like, this is a whole nother world.
Yeah.
Then
that
you
sounds
have, like,
intense.
At least 1,000 guys who are like in pictures at the like everybody's at the gym all the time. Like, what are your hobbies? I'm at the gym. What do you do after work? I'm at the gym. And I'm like, dude, I don't want someone at the gym. I want someone drinking a beer at a corner bar. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and they're always like taking mirror pictures.
Of course.
It's corny though. Like sometimes I just want to be like, what? We won't match if ... Like so you get these prompts. Take a picture at the gym.
I don't know how we as men have not been able to adapt and like use better like pickup lines. I don't know, because like the guy at the gym has been used for my entire life. Like that's what they do. Like, or they'll message like women and be like, hey, I think you're hot. And if you don't respond, they'll say it again because my wife gets it.
Right. Oh yeah.
And then by the time, like if you don't respond after like 5 times, they'll just like call you a bitch.
Yes. Like
that doesn't work.
Like, let's not screw this. Then you get a lot of them like, just want to meet up. I don't want to text forever. It's like already on their thing. So you're like, oh, okay. Like, and like part of me is like, all right, that's fair. Like, like they're going to be straight up, but it's so funny. And now there's like a new thing you hit, like, how are you willing to meet up? Willing to meet up socially or willing to meet up socially distantly with masks? Like that's actually like a prompt you can put on your dating apps. And it's just like, what world do we live in?
I'm pretty sure I'm thankful that I never had to get into that world.
Yeah, it's weird, and because of COVID though, like it's not like, the old days where you just show up at Old Time Charlie's. I don't know if it exists anymore.
It does actually.
Bar and have a drink and then like see someone across the bar, like, cause it's COVID, like you can't go anywhere. So you're kind of like stuck in this dating thing. And like, and the best part is like, everybody has like their like story too. And like, you just, freaking lunatics on this thing, and I'm on it.
Well, Jane, I wish you the best of luck in that life. I hope it ends sooner than later, I guess. I don't know, but we won't get into it. But I'm sure you need some time to kind of,
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, absolutely.
Let things happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's more about like meeting people, and I think it's like, like I said, it's like one of those things you're just like, wow, I'm 36, I'm on this. And you think like, wow, if that existed back when we were in our prime working at the Weekender, like, can you even imagine? I mean, the best you had back then was like AAM and maybe Facebook or MySpace.
Well, really? I mean, we had, I think Facebook kind of took off in 2009. I know I messaged my wife, Amanda, using MySpace. And then MySpace and Facebook were kind of together like for another year. And then I think Facebook kind of took over as far as like the main source of social media for me anyways. But yeah, I'm kind of glad that I don't have to worry about that. No, but best of luck. It sounds entertaining.
It is entertaining. I'll say that much.
We'll have to like get back on one of these like in like 3 months and see where you're at.
I think update. That's what I keep saying. So a girlfriend of mine is getting divorced too. And I keep saying, they're like, we should make a podcast just about the experiences with these men. Some of them are just like, wow.
You definitely should, because there are a lot of women who have podcasts that all they do is talk about, their sexcapades. We'll call them that. And they do very well. They have a lot of listeners because men are not smart.
Join us in it as like the male side at some point, like, so this is what he said. And I was like, that's corny. And you'd be like, well, here's what he meant.
Well, I just think it's funny that men like, oh, well, if I listen to this podcast of this girl talking about how she likes to do XYZ, then she wants to do that to me. That's their mindset, I think.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, it is. It's an interesting time in the world.
Yeah. So now that we've gone way out in left field, let's go back to the Weekender. You started there. Most interesting part was obviously the back pages, but obviously there was a lot more to the Weekender than just that. What are some of your experiences outside of the the massage ads?
We had a lot of good times. I mean, the massage ads were like such a big experience. Like putting like the boring parts, I suppose, are like the sitting and like, it sounds boring, but like putting the ads together and all that, or like the crazy Tuesday nights up to whatever time and getting a text like, this ad isn't in, where is it, blah, blah, blah. And like, this is back in the day, like when Blackberries were like just becoming a thing. So like if you had a Blackberry, you were like, oh my God, I might be able to actually like do a little bit of work from home. Otherwise you were like glued to your computer until like midnight sometimes. Like, oh, the ad didn't come in yet for Spurs. And like, how are we going to know if they did, if they're doing line dancing this week and like what the drink special is. So like, you were like, so like glued to your desk over it, but like, we were all glued to our desks over it and you were always trying to do different things. And it was fun and like crazy at times. And then there were like, when you had the promotions, I remember one, I wish if you could remember where it was, like we had a limo and like my now brother-in-law for whatever reason, like my date on it. Like he wasn't my date, but like I think he was dating my sister and I was like, Josh, come with me on this thing. The Weekender got a limo. Where did we go? Like where?
We went to a casino. What
Mount
casino
Airy?
was Mount Airy.
Must be because we didn't go to,
It had to have been. Yeah. Mount Airy. I don't know why.
And I don't know why either. I wish I could remember.
No, I think we were doing some kind of outdoor, like not a deck party, but I guess
deck party. But like
similar to that.
We even had a limo. Like somebody sent us a limo, and like they were the kind of things that happened when you were at the Weekend. It was like, oh, we have tickets to, arena football football, like, and you're going to run out on the field and hand out t-shirts. And then afterwards we're going to drink beer. And it was like, my life is amazing.
Yeah.
What a crazy time.
It's not
it's not a life kind of thing.
It's not a life for a guy or girl with a boyfriend or girlfriend. That's for sure. I'm thankful I had
like Rachel, you know, like we will not mention his name, but like whatever, had this boyfriend during it. And like, to me, she was like such an adult and we were like the kids. And now I realize like, she wasn't that old. Like
no.
Kids like running this thing. That was the best part. You were like, oh, she's really got her shit together. And like, and I'll tell you this right to her, like, what the fuck? No, none of us had our shit together. We were all like children in a lot of ways. And like, but like she seemed to, so it was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, like mom, like she'd walk in the morning and we'd all be like, oh, Rachel's here.
Yeah.
Great, sit up straight, you know, whatever. But like, you know, the odds were like, she was hanging out with her boyfriend till whatever time last night, probably was like hungover or whatever too. Like, but like, we all like looked at her like that. And I remember we always talk about this. And my dear friend, but Aaron Fink. So like we do this big promotion at the casino at Mohegan Sun.
Yeah, I'm loving this. The fact that we're gonna hear this
during the day, and I can't even remember why we were there, but it was some kind of music thing. And for some reason, like Aaron was there and it was like dead. Like the casino was dead. Like, and like, I didn't even want to go to it, but like Rachel was like, we have to go. And for whatever reason, like she wasn't feeling well. So she hadn't eaten. And then we started drinking. Like, great idea, guys.
Of course, great idea.
And like, I remember even like, I'm like in my, like, for some reason I think I was going to like a swim party. So I had like a bathing suit on underneath my weekender shirt, like definitely planning to peace out right after this thing. But then we're like drinking. And Jim Bone, like I would love to know if that was even his real name. But I
have no idea.
He had like a show on Rock 107 or something,
97.9X.
97.9X. So like Jim Bone is there and this Aaron Fink and like, you know, he's the Breaking Benjamin guy, blah, blah, blah. Like, so we're all drinking. And then Aaron's like, we should go back to my place. So whatever, Rachel and I and Jim Bone and the lemon jelly guy. Dustin and his wife or fiance Amber.
Yes.
We end up all of us going back to, I think she was anyway. Anyway, yeah, she was. Yeah. We end up going back to Aaron Fink's apartment in Kingston and continuing to drink. And I remember being like, you know, like, I'm fine. I've eaten. And like, you know, like we're eating. And then all of a sudden Rachel was like, not okay. And we're like, holy shit, like she's drunk. And like, and I'm laughing, but at the same time, like, I end up falling over and like kicking Aaron Fink's Bose over. It was like a Bose speaker. And he's like, my Bose! And like Rachel's crying, laughing like more than anybody should over my Bose. And like Jim Bone's like, I'm leaving. And Rachel, like at this point, it's now like 3:45, maybe in the afternoon. Like all of a sudden remembers she's hosting a family dinner. Right. At her house. And it's like, oh shit, I gotta go. Like my whole family's coming to my house. And I'm like, we've been drinking all day long. Like, are you okay? Oh yeah, I'm fine. So like Jim Bone ends up like driving Rachel home.
Thank God.
And I ended up like hanging out longer and like, oh my God. I just remember like Aaron was like, you know, I think he said something like dumb, like life is sometimes tough. And I was like, yeah, life looks like it's sometimes tough. Look at this place. And these like awards you have on your wall. Looks like you're having a really tough time over here. Wah! And then I was like, this guy is gonna hate me. But whatever. Yeah. Time and like I think Rachel ended up like going home and her family put her to bed.
Well, yeah. And wasn't her boyfriend calling her at the time too?
Her friend was calling her and like the worst, right? Because like Jim Bone was like a nice guy, but like he wasn't like the guy anybody was like hooking up with. But like it doesn't look great, right? Like Rachel's out all day, nobody can get a hold of her, and then like she rolls up with Jim Bone driving her home, and like her whole family is like sitting on her porch waiting for her, like, what are you doing? And then the next day she's like, Jane, what happened last night? And I'm like crying, laughing. Like she actually probably is like mortified that I'm even mentioning this. Like she's like really like, I'm upset. Oh my God, I don't know what happened. Like blah, blah. Like I didn't feel well. So like I didn't eat. And I'm like, well, we drank a lot. And you just went 0 to 100. It was over. And like, I don't know how that happened. So it was fun. It was crazy.
Yeah, we had some great times.
Like, yeah, you like didn't know like where you were going to end up, and you just like, and I think that happened a lot with the Weekender. It'd be like we'd be out, and then you'd be like somewhere, and then you'd be somewhere else, and you just like got there.
Well, that was the best part of being young and that's what I always say is like the idea of like not knowing where the night would go. Like you would just like, you go out to whatever party, or you can go to a bar, whatever it might be. And you had no idea what was going to happen. Like that's the, like, the sad part about getting old and, not sad. That's not the right word to use, but
even like you and I, like, we became close friends. I don't think you were dating Amanda yet. I think
I started dating her in 2008 in April. So like it was early.
Oh, okay. So maybe
she was still in school.
Was she 21?
Yeah. Well, she was still in school a lot. She was like, on top, in addition to going to school, she was also working. So I still had like, the ability to like go out and do stuff. Not that she would let me otherwise.
My point wasn't that. It was like you and I, it was like 4th of July. I hope you remember this. On the 4th of July. And it was like one of those days where like, for whatever reason, like I like texted you, I was dating someone and like, wasn't like going well or whatever. And I was like, I don't know if I should like stay with him or not. And I was like, meet me at River Grill. And like, that was the best part I'd say about the Weekender was like, you didn't just work with these people. They like suddenly became like you became like a brother. And I was like, I don't know, just meet me out here. And then you and I sat there and like probably had one too many beers. And I was like, shit, I got to go to a family 4th of July party. And like the two of us were like, we could have drank here all day. We should have just like, fuck 4th of July. We'll hang out. But that was kind of like the thing. It was like, wow, like in such a short amount of time, we all became like so tight that you were just like, if you had an issue or a problem, like you came in and like we all talked about it. And like talked about like, I don't know, all kinds of things with our family and our, whatever was going on. So, I mean, I just remember that 4th of July sitting at River Grill outside bar and being like, Johnny, I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't know, like, God, and you're like, you're 24, 25, but you feel this like pressure of like, all right, I'm like having fun, but I should probably get my shit together. And like, if I could go back, I'd be like, girl, be 25, have a great time, slow the F down. But we were just, I don't know, you're just in like such a weird place in your life.
Yeah, one of my fondest memories, and I wore this shirt in your honor. This is a Coors Light shirt. These are little mountains. We would go venting. So Coors Light came out with these new cans. They were vented cans that would help the alcohol flow out of the can better. And we would take the Coors Lights and go to the softball field where some of our coworkers were playing softball. And we would sit there and drink.
We were definitely not playing softball.
No, not at that point. Nope.
Really, we would sit there and we'd vent about like work or anything, like anything. Yeah, you're right.
Venting. Yeah, it was perfect because we would be drinking these venting cans
while you're venting your
and
beer.
Yeah, it was lovely.
It was great. God, what was that bar we used to go to that was like by your place in Wilkes-Barre?
Liam's. We went there after the Reader's Choice party again with Aaron Fink.
Oh my God. Yes.
I have pictures of that. Yes. We were shot.
But it was, that was a great little bar. Was that still there?
No. When did it close? I forget.
You guys were like pretty like regulars there.
Well, yeah, I lived right a block away. So it was convenient. We would, like, it was like I always say that my wife and I started dating at a perfect time because she just turned 21. I was an immature 25-year-old. So we were just partying. I wasn't ready to slow down. She was just starting and, we get, go to the bar, have.
I remember like, Johnny, I love you, but I remember like meeting your wife and being like, wow, he's dating up. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but this is like this hot, tall, blonde, who's also going to be a pharmacist. And I was like, damn. I remember saying it to you. I was like, and like, then like also cool, like could like hang.
Yeah.
And like, I remember thinking like, don't fuck this up.
Well, I tell to this day, I was like, there's going to be a day where she figures out that I'm where I am and she's going to be where she's going to be. And she'll eventually leave me. And I was okay with that. I'm like, all right, I'm going to enjoy this while,
the thing is though, and like, like a serious note, you have been her biggest fan though. And I know she like, like that means so much more than anything else. So like, yeah, you guys have been such a great match, but you married up. Always remember that.
Nice guys finish first. What can I say?
Next time I'm hoping to find a nice guy. I wish you had mentioned that back in 2008. Maybe I would be getting divorced.
I'm sure I said it because you probably wrote it in my face that I was with a girl way too hot for me. I was like, you know what? Being nice has its perks, I guess. But I was also Johnny Weekender, it was a big deal,
Big deal. Big. Tell me about did you have a lot of people, a lot of girls like Johnny Weekender when you'd go out? Because I feel like that's how it was. Did that feel like that to you?
No, never.
You're so full of shit right now.
I swear to God. I never.
Who coined you Johnny Weekender?
Well, Jane, had you listened to my podcast with Leslie, you would have known the story. How dare you? The lead singer of Lesson One, actually, Jay, he started saying it. He said, "Hey, Johnny Weekender, what's up?" And it stuck. Everyone started calling me that. I mean, I don't want to speak on behalf of anyone or whatever. How I kind of was the face of that product. I think, me and Rachel, especially, we were there for a long time. Each of us, like you're a perfect example, and not there's anything wrong with that, but you were there for a year. Leslie was there for, I think we talked about, it was 9 months.
Really?
People use that product as a stepping stone to get to the next, thing on their career path. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make that my career. And if I had my way, I'd still be there to this day, and we'd still have the fun times, or I'd be mentoring, kids that were in their 20s, and I'd be the old guy and say I remember when I was doing this and yada, yada, yada. But, Rachel and I were there for a long time. I was there for, including my internship, 9 years.
How many years was Rachel there?
I don't know when she started. I know she left
as leader, I think.
Yeah, I want to. She was there in 2004 when I was an intern, so I feel like she had just started maybe. So she was probably there from 2003 to 2012. So probably the same length of time.
Yeah. Wow.
But outside that, everyone kind of took a 2-year tour and they were on their way. So I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, you asked me about the whole Johnny Weekender thing. That's how it happened. I mean, I got to the point where people thought I owned the thing, which was kind of neat, but
would have been great.
Yeah, well, Jim McDonald, he's the one who started it. I'm hoping to get him to do one of these with me.
Oh, that's right.
Because I have no idea. I mean, I know, my internship and maybe a year prior to that, just from stories I was told. And then obviously
the publisher of the Times Leader at the time, or did the Times Leader owned it from the beginning, right?
Yeah. So when I started, it was Pat McHugh.
Oh, it was. I'm still friends with his sons on Facebook.
Oh, you know Liam?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We went to high school together.
Pat and Sean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that was Pat. He was, I don't know when he left.
Liam and I have the same birthday.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Shout out Liam. He's funny. We used to party at my apartment back in 2005. I think he met his wife that summer.
Remember Laura, who used to do my hair? She did Amanda's hair too.
Yes.
Yeah, he's married to her cousin.
Okay.
We live in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm friends with all them. That's right. Okay, so I interned at the Times Leader. Oh God. Okay. 2000, maybe 2000, 2001, and maybe 2002 or somewhere along those. And Pat McHugh was the publisher.
Before, yeah, I remember. It was funny too, because Liam, great kid, but he started, I forget when he started high school with us, maybe 10th grade, 11th grade.
Yeah.
But he was a new kid and all the girls loved him and blah, blah, blah. And he dressed nice and all these things. And then it was just funny to kind of work for his dad.
So his dad was sold the idea. How did this Weekender come? I actually don't know the story, but if you've already covered this, don't cover it.
No. I mean, well, Jim McDonald, I don't know. Jim McDonald started the product in 93.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is
Goose came in Pat was there, but the Weekender was already there when Pat McHugh was there.
I assume, again, this, it's before my time. I don't know. I hope that, Jim and I just connected on Facebook, so hopefully he'll, when I ask him, he'll respond. Well, hopefully, we'll see.
That's cool.
But I'm hoping to get enough of these under my belt where I can say, hey, like here's 10.
Here's how much fun it is. Jane was the best one.
Tell us. And Jim's a good looking guy too. He must have had a lot of fun back in the day.
I don't know that. Like, I think I'm actually friends. I don't know. I don't think I knew him well. But
we didn't. He wasn't there when we were there. I don't think.
No. But like, I do think like he added me because I worked there. It's funny. Like, there's still like bands. I wish I could remember which ones, but like that, like wish me happy birthday on Facebook because like I sold the Weekender ads. And then like, you remember there was like bartender of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And like I worked at Carrie's Pub in Kingston. So like,
yes,
a picture of somebody and they'd be bartender of the week or whatever. Like, I don't know, because I don't live in that area anymore, but like, it was just such a community. Like, that's really what it was like. It was like people like couldn't wait for the Weekender to come out. And like, it's such a different time now. You have these social media where like things are instantaneous, but back then, and this makes me sound really freaking old when I say it like that, but like, it really was something that like, it was like first thing in the morning, like the rack would be empty by a certain point because like people wanted the Weekender. And I think that was what was so special about being like, when you open it up and having your face right on it, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like a special thing to be part of this publication that was like so coveted. And there was like it's so stupid. The Citizen's Voice had like their version, Electric City or whatever.
Yeah, Electric City, Diamond City.
It was terrible. Like it was like a pathetic attempt at trying, but you still looked at it like, all right, but it's still competition. So let's make sure we do this better. And like we did every time. It was an incredible experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think competition is very healthy, and it was always good to be part of the winning team, I guess you could say.
And then those videos we did,
I just talked to Mike Lello the other day, and we talked about how we were kind of ahead of our time for those because it was like 2000. I mean, it was 2008 when you were there. I think we started them in maybe 2007 even, and it was just like this shitty video on a camera that we had, and like
not even like you didn't have an iPhone back then,
right?
We walked around the square even and did certain things. Like we did like trick photography things at times. We had fun with that. And you're right. And like, it's sometimes sad to me that they don't live somewhere on the web.
They do.
Well, some of them, no, I still haven't been able to find like,
some of them are on YouTube.
Oh.
Some are on YouTube.
Oh, the link.
Yes.
Add that to this podcast.
I'll throw it in the links below. Make sure you subscribe and follow or whatever, however that goes.
My 4-year-old now is like, Mom,
yes.
You got to subscribe to my channel. And I'm like, this is a problem that you're asking me to subscribe to something you don't even know. She's like, can't we just put a YouTube video up? You could just ask for it. And like, she'll grab my remote and hit the Siri button. And she's like, play Michael Jackson Beat It on YouTube. And the TV plays it. And I'm just like, this is a totally different world.
Well, you were a big Michael Jackson fan, weren't you?
I was a big Michael Jackson fan. So Murray's, Thursday Night Murray's, do you remember those? Thursday Night Murray.
Oh, well, yes and no.
Pictures.
That's the one bar.
None of us got DUIs is an absolute miracle. If we had Uber, the world would have been different.
Oh, we would have been in bigger trouble.
We were, I mean, seriously, but there was $2 pitchers of rum and Coke, $2 pitchers of Long Island iced teas, and Go-Go Gadget would play. And they called me, I'm still friends with the singer on Facebook, Billie Jane. I would like, what I felt like was an exact, precise replication of the Billie Jean dance.
Sure.
Which probably looked like a mess.
Absolutely.
But it was, I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. Dressed up as Michael Jackson several times.
How do you feel now knowing what we know?
So that was really hard to watch. I mean, I still love the music.
Right.
But I won't lie. Like I have friends who like, like love him and they're like, oh no, I still love him. But like, It is that was really a difficult thing to watch and like hard to dispute. Like, I mean, he clearly a very messed up and troubled person. I still appreciate the talent, but like, I won't lie. It was hard for me to even listen to him for a while. And like, the worst part was, like I said, like I have my daughters listening to him and they're like, he's so great. He's my favorite singer. And I'm like, oh, don't say that out here. So like, yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
That special, what was that, HBO, was like very...
I forget. Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did not. I don't know if I could.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know if I could.
What was more fucked up was the parents. It's like,
that's what...
And this like 20-some-year-old invited my son to sleep over, and my room was over here in the hotel, and their room was over here. And like, I thought it was all fine. And I was like...
Yeah, I don't know if you get blinded by the fact that like, we're friends with a celebrity, or this is Michael Jackson. Like, we'll just ignore that. Like, I don't know.
And like voicemails of him, like, "Hi, I miss you all." Blah, and like,
weird.
Sound like weird. Like you'd be like, "This guy's weird." But I guess, yeah, I totally agree. You're like, okay, it's Michael Jackson. Like, I don't think we've had anybody as big as Michael Jackson probably in our lifespan. Like, you know what I mean? Like you the Justin Timberlakes, the Lady Gaga's, whatever, but like nobody was like Michael Jackson was like the God. And so like, yeah, I mean, I guess in some ways, but I mean, the things he did and like all the stories were so consistent. And these poor like men were so messed up that you just felt like the fact that they even came forward. I mean, the one, like, you just swore like they were off themselves and they were done. Like, it is. Like, I agree, don't watch it because that was difficult.
What's sad, like, I mean, that kind of behavior breeds further behavior. And it's like, obviously Michael Jackson didn't have a wonderful life growing up either. But like, you know, I said before, it's not like I didn't care about children before I had a kid, but now that I have a kid, like, I mean, how can you do that to somebody? Like,
totally different world.
Like, I mean, they're so innocent and like,
right.
Like trusting and all that kind of stuff. Like, how can you do that to somebody? Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And it's like a cycle, and like we should move on because this is like, we should definitely move on. Like, oh my God, we're getting deep. But, I know like we're trying to like keep this short, but I'm going to crack open one more beer.
Hey, you know what? I have all night. I'm off of work tomorrow. I've got nowhere to be.
Too. And I mean,
you're searching for the views. I'm searching for memories, Jane.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I will say, I don't even care. I'm going to throw him right under the bus.
Careful.
My first engagement while working at the Weekender.
I think
you came out with me that night.
Was it at like Tink's?
No. I don't even think Tink's was around. No, we went to River Grill.
I remember being at Tink's with him. Maybe that was before you got engaged.
Where was Tink's? Oh, up in Scranton?
Scranton, yeah. It was Tink's and Hardware Bar, and now it's Levels.
Tink's with him?
Yeah, I remember being outside. And I don't know if it was before or after. I forget. What were we going to say?
Well, I guess my point was like, like we were all so close, obviously, that like, I get engaged to my boyfriend at the time, Brian, who like, like I had been dating like through my time at the Weekender. And I think like we all had like kind of like jokes about, I think like I used to like travel with my like contact lens solution in my purse. And like people would be like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, you just never know where you're going to end up tonight. And like they would be, I think they thought like I was just like ending up wherever, but I'm like, I have a boyfriend. Like I just like carry it. But I like the big bottle was always in my purse. And like, whatever, like I ended up like, dating this guy and like bringing him around. He was cool. And like calling you up and being like, come out, we're going to get engaged. And you and Amanda had been together like longer. And you were like, thanks a lot, Jane. You're kind of like fucking my world up. Cause like, like she's like, like I'm not engaged yet. I'm not even near ready to get engaged. I'm like, why not? You should get engaged. And like exactly a year later, I was like, I'm 25. I'm like trying to build a career. Like I could get married right now. Like this is like a totally, I'm like going this way. And like, you were like, see what I told you, Jay? See what I told you? And like, you were like nice to me, but also like, yeah, this is what you get. Why were you registering to get married? And I was just like, all right, like, fuck, I get it.
Yeah, because you were living down in Wilkes-Barre too with him, right?
Hi, Mark's
Were you?
pub.
Yes, but were you neighbors with
Kevin?
Kevin? Yes, but was Rob a guy there at that point, or was Rob later? There was a kid named Rob. I forget his last name. God damn it. He was actually Man of the Year at one point in 2012.
I don't know if Man of the Year lived next door because I would have been there.
Well, it was like 2012 that he was Man of the Year. Rob, what the hell?
That could have been later.
It's not important. But yeah, I remember.
So Kevin Fitzmaurice, who worked at the time, lived next door, and now he lives actually down the street from me now here.
That's weird.
Really weird. Like literally on the same street right down there. So he's here, and I've seen him since he has 2 kids now too.
Good.
They've all grown up.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, are we done with the Weekender?
Yeah.
Are we done with the Weekender?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, I was there for a year. It was, a different experience for me than like your early years, because like I think like the world got a little different, right? Like you guys.
The recession hit. I mean,
what?
The recession kind of hit that year.
Yeah, you're right. The recession hit. Like like life like kind of changed. It was tough, and like like I said, like I ended up getting a call and taking off to another job, and like life just like got all over the place. But yeah, what are we moving on to?
Well, I mean, like you went from like, going to a bar middle of the day, hanging out with Aaron Fink from Breaking Benjamin, my bows, and then you decided like, oh, I want to be like this like figure. I don't even know what you were doing. But like you were like this
fracker. I was a fracker. Frack on, mother frackers.
Yeah.
I was on like drilling sites. Like I was literally like in a hard hat, like taking people out on well sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I moved into natural gas. I was up in Bradford County, northern tier, up in northern Pennsylvania, and hardcore job. It was an hour and a half away. So I was living in Wilkes-Barre, drive an hour and a half each way.
Well, real quick, were you still with Brian at the time or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I was with Brian for a good year. We got engaged the day I was offered the job.
Oh wow.
Within that week. I was offered the job the day Michael Jackson died, ironically.
Oh wow. Well, I feel like you went from one extreme to the next.
Well, I did. So I went up there, had that job for a full year, and came home, and believe it or not, was with Leadership Wilkes-Barre. We wanted to build a band shell by the river, by the river on the river.
Yeah.
How do they call that?
River Commons.
River Commons. And Aaron Fink was a donor of it because we had all partied together. And I was like, Aaron, can you support this thing? And went home that night and was just like, yeah, I can't do this. My career was going, and we were just disagreeing on very basic things that people should agree on before they get married. And so it wasn't this huge fight or anything. It was he was yeah, I can see where we're differing in certain things. And I moved to Kingston for maybe a month and a half, 2 months, and then moved up to Bradford County, middle of nowhere. I walked into my first bar there, and they were like, oh wow, you have all your teeth. You must not be from here.
I am now.
And I was like, oh yeah, oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, moved up there, did rig tours, frac tours, production tours, working with, what's funny, totally different group, but not far from the Weekender. Cause now I'm with cowboys from Texas.
Okay. Yeah.
Who are buying drinks at bars and staying out all night and
making tons of money.
Making tons of people are
yeah.
Money. And so it was a different world. It was Weekender if we were all loaded. Right. It was oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So it was so much fun, craziness. I called off my engagement. I actually dated a cowboy who rode bulls on the weekends. Would be I'm flying to Oklahoma for a bull riding.
Oh, I thought you meant you. Okay, I'm sorry.
And me. And yeah, so he'd be so I gotta go home, ma'am, call me ma'am, and blah blah, and wore a cowboy hat and blah blah, and yeah, I'm gonna go home, ride bulls this weekend, and made money doing that. So like totally different world, and like crazy and wild. But yeah, now I am in like something.
Well, that was for how long?
4 years.
4 years. Okay.
4 years. So like this is like unfortunately like what happens in my world. Like so like I said, like newspapers started like having a tough time. Recession hits. Newspapers are like hurting. Then I get into natural gas. Boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, gas prices fall. Everything like the company is now completely bankrupt.
Oh,
and the CEO, who was CEO at the time, like I was in their commercials on television. I was in their, all that. He committed suicide because he was.
Wow.
He drove his car right into a bridge. And I loved him. Like he would 12,000 employees, but he'd like come out to Penn State games and like knew me by name. Like I really loved him. And we get fired like George Clooney up in the air. Like
you got fired?
Oh, we all got laid off. My entire
I don't think I knew that.
Up in your offices and you see men in suits come in. My boss and all of my coworkers, not only my office, every office across the country. So it was like, they're like, made you come in, even if you were on like PTO, you come in, conference call. This is corporate America. Oh, we're here in the Athens, Pennsylvania office, here in Oklahoma, here in Austin, Texas, here in, Denver, Colorado, blah, blah. And then a guy gets on, he's like, we've had a very successful last couple of years. Couldn't have done it without you all. Times are tough though. People are about to walk in and like, boom, people start walking in. They're like, you'll go back to your office. And my cell phone shuts down. Cell phone shuts off. You're like, and they're like, people come to your office. Some of you may stay. Most of you will get a severance package, blah, blah, blah. And like, so we're all like taken down, like FBI agents on each side of you, like one at a time, sat down. It's like, as of today, your position no longer exists. Legal. Here's your couple thousand, whatever. I got like $20,000, blah, 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 severance. Your stock will vest today, blah, blah, blah. And then like they literally take you upstairs, watch you pack. And then I drove a Chesapeake vehicle. They drive you home. So it was me, and all my coworkers, like all of us, the entire department, 10 of us and all over the country. And it was the most insane experience of my life.
That's like movie shit.
It was like a movie. And this poor, like, I think he was Australian guy is like, I can't even do an Australian accent, but he's like, where do you live? And like, I'm like talking to him and I'm like, I can't believe I just lost my job. And I'm like, oh my God, he missed the turn. And like, he's like, like driving all over town. Like I'm in the car way longer than I should be with him because I can't call anyone because I got rid of my personal phone. So like I have no phone. I'm emailing my husband at the time. Like I just lost my job and he's like in Center County doing something, like, I'm like, I just lost my job. I thank God kept a personal vehicle and like got in the car and drove to a friend's house, a friend I worked with, and I didn't know if he lost his job. Like you didn't know who lost their job and who kept it. Like I assumed my boss kept his job, but he didn't. So like, I'm like sitting there, like, I drive up and his wife's at home and I said, can I borrow your phone? Like I need to call my parents. I need to call my husband. Like, I don't know what to do with myself right now. And as I do that, she's like, but where's Andy? Like she has 2 kids who are like 3 and 5. And I said, like, oh, I think he must be safe. Like I've been home for a while. And then like Andy's truck pulls up, but it's the same guy who had dropped me off driving.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, of course, like have to like capitalize on this. So the poor like schmuck who like his whole job is to drive us all home. I'm like, hey, you again, twice in one day. And he's just like mortified. I mean, like, and this poor family, like that was their sole income. So they're like out of a job like that. And so the problem was like, nobody was from really Pennsylvania. So like everybody left, everybody fled. So my boss now lives in Houston. I loved him. And like, he's offered me jobs there. Like Andy, my close friend, lives in West Virginia. Like everybody went somewhere else. That was tough. Actually, Rory Sweeney, who used to work at the Times Leader, worked with me. We all lost our jobs together. So yeah, that was terrible. I took some time off for a couple months and then I ended up doing healthcare philanthropy. So I worked for the hospital there, fundraising, which like was okay, but it was like, small healthcare system. It was like, I don't know. It was small town, small idea, small everything. And like, fundraising is like fun, but not, it's like not like the best thing in the world. And it's hard healthcare system. So did that for like a year and then moved to Harrisburg. And I have been with Feeding Pennsylvania for 5 years now.
And what do you do there?
I am the executive director. So the nonprofit was formed in 2011. I'm only their second executive director. And I'm proud because I was the only employee when I started. And we were about a $250,000 budget. And we have 8 people now. And we are well over $10 million a year now. So
Wow.
I've built this thing over the last 5 years with the help of amazing people and the food banks in Pennsylvania. And so it's very rewarding, but it's funny. I still sometimes explain to people like, I have a 25-year-old who works for me and she'll be like, I don't know, this feels a little administrative. And I'm like, oh, when I was your age, I was going to a massage parlor, taking cash from my leisure room.
You shut the fuck up and
shut up and take the money. And like, you're going to the governor's residence for a cocktail party tonight. Like, get your shit together. You'll be fine. Like, it's like that. It's true though. Like, but like all of those experiences led me to where I am today, right? You like built a tough shell to like deal with the people, the bar owners. Oh my God. Andy,
Partash,
Andy, if you are around, Andy would give me so much shit. And his brother, Mike, the two of them were, and like, like back in the day, like I'd be like, oh, like all upset, whatever. But like, thank God those people like shape me to now, like somebody calls me or a legislator calls and I'm like, let's not fuck around, people. There's people who are hungry. Cut this tape. Let's get them the food they need. This isn't political, but like Andy, those people shaped me on this. So it's like, it's wild, but like it is. And I often tell her like, you have no idea what a hard job is.
It's like in is it Happy Gilmore? Oh, my fingers hurt. Well, what's that? What's that? Your back's going to hurt now because you just pulled landscaping duty. Shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm privileged to get to do the work I do. It is crazy to think back about the Weekender. And I think like there are people who think like, oh, that was just a fun job. There's people like, just got to party. But like, no, like you really did learn like some crazy life skills and like humbling life skills. And then like people who like, like Rachel and you and Steve, like, I mean, you're people you can run into again and just be like, catch up, like right where you left off. I mean, it is incredible. It is an incredible bond to work with people like that.
Yeah, I'm actually friends with just about everyone except for maybe a couple.
You want to talk about it?
Do I?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know. Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Therapy. Let's talk.
You mentioned Steve. Steve was a really good friend of mine. I met a lot of great people there. People that I still talk to this day. And like, doing this has been an amazing thing for me. And it's like, of course I want people to listen. I assume that people who actually worked in the Weekender will be the ones who like watch or listen to this. Right.
Right.
But if I hope others do, just because like, to kind of maybe take them back to what the Weekender was, or maybe it's someone who just like maybe heard of it in passing and kind of get a glimpse into what it was. But I mean, people grow up, people change. With Steve and I, it was really bizarre, actually. I've actually tried to reach out to Steve to clear the air, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple times. This is probably going back a couple years now. So Steve and I, I got him the job at the Weekender.
How did you guys know each other? Because of bands or something?
Well, yeah, he lived in the same apartment complex that I did. He was in lesson 1. So, I mean, we lived together, we partied together, a bunch of different things. And Steve was a good friend of mine. And when I say I got him the job, I shouldn't say that because I wasn't like, he was
like teed him up for the job.
Yeah. I mean, he was and is very talented. Designer, photographer. I will never take that away from him at all.
He was a photographer at my wedding. #blessed. Marriage is great. Everybody should get married. Use not any day photography.
No, don't do that.
Hope that you get divorced.
Shit, he did mine. So like, yeah, I mean, I found out the designer that was there, Damien, he was leaving. He and I were good friends. And I was like, shit, like I don't want some asshole coming on in here. And I remember calling Steve up, and this is before Damien even gave him his notice. I called Steve up. I said, listen, get your shit together. Get your resume together. Like at the time he was a teacher at I think Gallucci Music, teaching guitar. I said, get your shit together. And, he came in for a couple interviews, got the job, and I was thrilled. I mean, it was a good friend of mine, a buddy.
Right.
And that was 2006. And I think 2000, and he was a photographer, right? So he did weddings in the past. And I think it was 2011, I want to say. Because he stopped doing weddings. He wanted to get back into them. And he had done weddings under Not Just Any Day. And I said, it's a cool name. Bring it back, dude. Like, start your own thing, or at least on the side, And I offered to help. And, he kind of launched it back up. We were doing, I shouldn't say we, because I wasn't doing the photos, but he started doing weddings on the weekend. Like we would do,
You came with him when my ex-husband was running for office. And you,
I don't know if I came with him or if I was just there to support you and your ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband. I don't remember.
Steve had you there as like working with him. Okay. So that would have been like 2013, 14. Was he
2013 because I had just left.
Bullshitting me? I'm not joking. But it was. No. It was like 13, 14, somewhere in there. Like we got married in 13 and it was definitely after I got married.
It was 13.
It was like Johnny's working with me. Like, I mean, whatever. You were there to like be his sidekick.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I did a lot of work for him. Like, not only did we meet every week to discuss like strategies and social media campaigns, and like we were doing, wedding expos on the weekends at.
Oh my God. That sounds awful, but yes.
It was, and at the end of the day, I ran a photo booth for him at Wilkes University. I did a photo booth for him at Tom DePietro, who's owner of DePietro Pharmacy, in Scranton at Posh or whatever the hell it's called, I think it's Posh. 3 years of work. And let me tell you how much I got paid. $0, right? So, I mean, the idea was like, we were just going to, do all this.
Right.
Keep putting the money back into the business. And maybe eventually one day quit our full-time jobs and make that our full-time job, right?
Oh yeah.
And I kind of saw the writing on the wall.
He was at Mets.
Yeah,
right?
He was at Mets. So,
right.
So we were still doing stuff together. I remember we went and picked up the freaking photo booth from some R&L delivery like truck place up in the Piston, whatever it was. No, it was one of those.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but no. So I did a lot of work, a lot of work over 3 years, and made $0. To the point where it got to the point where he quit his full-time job at Mets, without even discussing it with me. And not that he had to. I will always say that. I mean, that business in general was his. I mean, I was just kind of along for the ride. I kind of used I think I still have on my phone how many weddings that I actually signed for him. And there were people to this day that say we would have used him had it not been for you, right?
Right. Wow.
And I was the one taking the phone calls, sending emails, writing up the contracts, getting them signed, yada yada yada. And one day he just decided he's going to quit his job and do Not Just Any Day full time.
Okay.
It's fine. I mean,
but never mentioned it to you.
It was strange, but I mean, hey, dude, it's your business.
Like, no, I'm going to quit tomorrow.
Right. It was out of nowhere. Like I think I saw like a Facebook post.
But Facebook post. You guys are meeting weekly.
Yeah.
You're meeting weekly. And so the Facebook post goes up and you're not like, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I think
we met yesterday. What's up?
I think towards that part, we weren't like meeting weekly at that point. I'm trying to think what year that was. It was 2014. Yeah, 2014, I think, is when he quit and did this. Like, towards the tail end of that. So he just did it and kind of like didn't need me, I guess you could say. And I remember we did a wedding expo at the Scranton Cultural Center, and we wrapped things up. I remember being outside, and he said to me afterwards, because I kind of was like, what the fuck's going on here, right? And he's like, well, Amanda Dittmar, she's our photographer and designer, and she brings this idea to the table, and so-and-so brings this idea to the table, and so-and-so does this, that, other thing. And he basically just said, like, what is it you say that you do here? And I was like, I think we're done here. I think we're done here.
Is that really the way you responded?
I didn't say anything. I was like in my mind, like I was like, wow, this kid is out of his fucking mind. Legit, you're out of your fucking mind. So if you're watching this or listening to this, you're out of your fucking mind, right? And this is the things I wanted to tell you when I tried to talk to you, right? We'll get to that. So I was like, at the point, I'm like, well, I'm fucking done. Like, this is crazy. Like,
this is in person.
This is in person. It was outside the cultural center. Yeah, we just got done doing it.
Stared at him.
Yeah. What does it say? What is it you say you do here? So that was 2014.
Is that the last time you saw him?
No, actually, because originally he was going to be like, I just kind of wrote it off. I'm like, okay, you know what? We're done. You know, it's not a big deal. It is what it is. Kind of shitty, but let's move on. At one point, and I forget, I don't know if there was, I don't remember the timeline, because initially when I got engaged, I had asked him to be in my wedding because I was in his. That's how close we were. Like, I helped him move out of his apartment in Wilkes-Barre into his home in Wyoming. I helped him paint walls in his house. I helped him grout tile in his kitchen. Like, we were friends. Like, we were like, that's why I was like kind of really taken back by all this. But
what year did you get married?
I got engaged in 2013. I got married in 2015. So
originally he was wait a second. Let's just point out here that I was engaged twice and married before you actually got engaged.
Well, Jane, you're not smart.
Yeah. Noted.
So it got to a point where like my wedding party was like stupid big. And, I wanted to add Amanda's brother to the thing, and his point was out of control. And Steve's like, hey, you know what? I'd rather just photograph your wedding, man. Like, let me do what I'm good at. Like, I'll do the day. Like, invite your brother-in-law or soon-to-be brother-in-law. Like, yeah, that's cool. I'm like, dude, that's great. Like, awesome. Right. Like, did the wedding. I asked for a quote from him, and the initial quote was he was out of his fucking mind. Like full boat. Like, here's the price for this wedding. And I'm like, bro, first of all, I haven't been paid for 3 years from you, and I'm not paying this. Like, so I said, like, you can take this away, take that away. Like, but I want this and this. Like, this is important. And that's when he's like, oh, if I do it myself, like, it'll be cheaper than me having to pay somebody else. So.
Oh, okay. So that also did it. I'll do it. Yeah.
That also how that kind of it worked out too. So he did the wedding, paid him for that, and that was kind of it. I felt like at that moment, like, okay, well, you got what you wanted. I kind of got what I wanted. I still paid you for it, but whatever. And so this kind of just sat with me for a long time, probably a couple years, probably 3 years, and to the point where I had texted him and was like, hey man, so actually I was at King's College. Wilkes University. I was a guest on a radio show, and actually saw him and his wife and their kid walking across the street. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of fucking feeling all this animosity towards this kid, right? We used to be really great friends, and maybe I painted a picture in my mind that's not how he sees it, right? So I shot him a text. I said, hey man, I saw you and your wife and your kid walking through the campus. I have all this animosity.
Did he see? You think he saw?
No, I was in a building. I didn't see him at all, or he didn't see me rather. But I said, hey, I saw you guys. I would love to get together. Like, I have a lot of animosity, and I don't want to feel this way. What do you say we get together? He's like, oh, hey, buddy. Like, yeah, I've never had any animosity towards you. And I'm thinking, well, why the fuck should you? Like, I didn't fuck you over. I didn't waste your time for 3 fucking years and not pay you a fucking dime.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you have any animosity towards me? But yeah, let's grab a coffee, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, let me know. I would love to. Picks a date, right?
He picked the date.
Pick the date. Pick the location. Dunkin' Donuts, Wilkes-Barre.
Right. Oh, he loved Dunkin' Donuts and the flatbreads. I used to go with him. All right, this makes sense. Dunkin' Donuts, Wilkes-Barre, let's do it.
Yeah. So great. The day before, supposed to meet, or the day of, rather, I forget, it was the day before, day of. Hey, you still good for the day? You know what? I'm not really feeling that well. Blah, blah, blah. Can we reschedule? Yeah, sure, man. I'm available. You let me know. Okay, cool. I'll get back to you this weekend. Weekend goes by. No response from Steve. Whatever. So months go by. And I remember texting him again saying, hey, buddy, that coffee's getting cold. You know,
you're such an asshole.
Yeah. So, you know, whatever.
Coffee's getting cold.
And he goes, well, good thing there's microwaves. Ha ha. Like, let's meet up this day.
Okay.
Cool. Let's do it. Day before, day of comes, I touch base. Hey, we still good? Hey, man, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know what? I'm fucking done. You know, I'm done. Like,
you right back?
I've tried. I don't remember if I said anything back. I'm like, okay, let me know.
Oh, so you weren't like, I'm done to him.
No, not to him. I said, okay, man. Yeah, let me know. No worries. In my mind, I'm like, I'm fucking done. Like, right. I've tried twice. Obviously, like, there's a couple of things happening here. You don't care enough to meet with me because you know you fucked up. Or B, you're just a really fucking asshole and you don't fucking like me. That's fine too.
Jesus. I hope that's not the case.
I don't really care. I don't care at this point. Like, it sucks because like I will have dreams about like him and I having an altercation, whether it's like, you know, verbally or whatever, like, you know, maybe airing our grievances. It is Festivus, right? So, but no, it's a shame. It's a real shame.
It is a shame because you two sat right next to each other and we're such like and like I guess like maybe we like tiptoed around that, and I think we did in the beginning of this. Like, you guys were such a like tight fort next to each other, and like you guys were kind of like the glue, and like, you know, it was like cool. It was like, you know, like I felt like kind of like privileged to be like the third in that, which, you know, like sounds really kinky. I'm not trying to be kinky at all. Like, no. I feel like I was like a bro with you guys. Like, it was you two were the tightest. And then it was like, I could sit there and like laugh with you two, but you two like had a bond. And like that's upsetting to me to know that.
And he was there for, I guess, 6 years. So he was there a while too. So between and me, like, Rachel, you know,
he did my wedding, like I said, and you were with him at my husband or my soon-to-be ex-husband's political event. And like, you know, like I just felt like, wow, like that friendship is forever. So, I mean, Steve, if you're out there, the microwave is not working. Brew a new pot. Brew a new pot.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. And the funny thing is, I've heard...
person though?
What's that?
Not run into him at all?
I have not. I saw him one night at a show. It was a benefit show back in maybe early 2019. I forget what year it was. But at that point, but I had been drinking. I'm like, this is not the place or time to... Oh, let's talk about this real quick. So he came to my bachelor party.
Okay.
Comes to my bachelor party, Atlantic City, 2015, May 2015, bachelor party AC. Because he was going to be in my wedding, but you know, things didn't work out. Like, but he's still going to be a photographer or whatever. I remember getting drunk and kind of saying the things that I've already said to you about my feelings about the situation, all that kind of stuff. I'll say this out loud, in tears. So keep this in mind. So too much to drink.
Okay.
Emotional. A guy who I consider a really great friend, I felt like he fucked me over.
Like opening up. Was he drunk too?
No, he doesn't have fun. But no low
blows. I'm kidding.
Whatever.
I'm kidding.
So that happened, right?
Yeah.
I remember the next day I woke up and not embarrassed, but kind of like upset that I was like, I let myself be that vulnerable.
Like, I'm mortified about
but also like what I said to him was I meant everything I said. It was just the wrong place and time to do it.
Okay.
And so that was kind of, so that's like, hey, obviously I'm upset by what's going on here.
This was a text or in person?
No, this is in person. It was the next day.
Oh, wow. And what did he respond to that?
Oh, I think he gave me a hug and was like, it's okay, buddy. Yeah. So that was like kind of another solidification of like, okay, fuck you. Like, you don't care about me. Like, because if you did, like, obviously, like,
you said some deep things.
Yeah. Like, again, I let my guard down.
Wow.
Said what I needed to say. And I said to him the next day, I'm like, I meant what I said. It wasn't the right time to say it.
Right. Like, I remember what I said, I picked shitty timing, but like, it still like came from like an honest place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was drunk and maybe it was like a little dramatic, but it was like absolutely what I was feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, again, I reached out a few times.
But he was at your wedding.
He photographed it. Yeah.
And then like you guys like never hung out again?
That was it. That was it. Like I said, and I reached out, and like it's funny because like I don't wish him any ill will. I would never wish anything bad to happen to him. Of course not. But it just
for him to do. What about when your son was born?
Oh, he actually texted me when my son was about to be born. He's like, "Hey, congratulations," because his son is actually a year younger than mine by a couple of days. I think his son mine's the 27th, so his is probably like the 22nd or something like that.
No, I think I talked to you when she was in labor. I did.
Don't know.
I did, Johnny. I totally forgot about this. I was like, hey, what's going on? You're like, oh my God, we're actually here. Blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Oh, my wife.
Yeah, your wife.
Yes, you did text us. Yeah.
I did, which is like so funny. I think that, okay, we're going to end this soon because I'm not going as long as Lolo. But I think that is the epitome. I know you're like trying to get to like the crazy times. That is what the Weekender was, right? Mm-hmm. Like crazy times where we were like finding ourselves, making mistakes. Somebody there accused me of being gay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But like, like trying to like figure out like who you were and like taking like people who were like judging you on certain things or whatever. And like, you're in this young phase of your life. And then like some of us anyway, and I'd say like Rachel in some aspects too. I would say like you and Rachel particularly are like people who you like years could go by, but like something big is happening in your life, whether it's a birth or a death or a marriage or whatever. And it's like, you don't feel weird about picking up the phone and calling or texting because like it's a bond and like you can't describe it. And that doesn't happen everywhere you work. And I can say that now because like Weekender to Chesapeake to Guthrie to, I'm on my like, third company since there. And it is a special bond, I think, that most people will never understand.
Yeah. I mean, you were and are like the sister I never had. Absolutely. And I honestly like, you and Katie and Janelle, you were all that for me.
And like, I didn't even work with Katie. Isn't that so weird? Like, I know. I mean, I know who they are, but like, we weren't even that close.
That's how like people walked in the door and it was just like, okay, this is this is the next person that's going to get us to where we're going. And it's like, welcome aboard, buckle up.
But you're also in these formidable years where you're like, personal shit is going on. And it like, you don't always get that with like your coworkers, but like we were all like living it together. And it was just an intense time and an amazing time. And like, I love that I am going through one of the worst experiences of my life. And somehow, some weird way, I have reconnected with you twice in the last year and like been able to like completely unload about these things. And it's like,
Well, it's funny because I think we're both going through moments of our lives, the most terrible moments of our lives.
Yeah.
And you've experienced what we're experiencing.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I hope that's okay for
totally fine. Totally fine.
Yeah. It's
might be even another episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to.
One of these days. We'll do a follow-up of where Jane is in 6 months.
We could do a follow-up and do all that. But I don't mind going into some of that if you want to. It's up to you.
I think I've been going into it too much, which causes me to have like.
And you're a podcast, you mean?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, it got brought up with Mike.
Oh, okay.
It got brought up with Leslie. I mean, for those of you who don't know, my wife and I have experienced 3 losses in 12 months of trying to have a second child. Obviously, it's not something easy to go through. But I wish on anybody. I know that you've experienced.
I have experienced infertility. I was lucky to not experience.
Oh, right. Not that that's,
but I have
easier, but
my best friend in the world. No, well, in some ways it is, I think. But it is an interesting thing to look back and as a woman think like my body is failing me. Like the thing I am built to do, my body is failing me. And like, why can't I just get this right? And you cannot control it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can like try to control, you can like try to eat well, whatever, but like you really can't control it and you're just feel like a failure. So like I understand it. And and like I said, like it's like literally so many people I know, and like so many close people with the losses and at IVF and the whole thing, the whole gamut. And it's like so annoying that it's like not talked about.
Well, I mean, so there's a couple things, and I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it, I guess, because for 2 reasons. My thought is, I feel it sucks that women have, for so long, women have been made to feel as if it's, like you said, it's embarrassing. You feel like a failure. And then when you're going through it, you shouldn't talk about it. Right.
Nope. Yeah. Nobody wants to be like a sad person.
That's not okay. And I hate talking about it in this way because I'm a male. So I don't reproduce like, I don't have the baby. I don't carry the baby for 9 months. I don't do any of that. And I don't have that instant connection that women do when you find out that you are pregnant, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like an asshole when I talk about it because like, oh, who's this jerk off talking about, a woman being,
you should not
I just want to make that clear. But if I can be,
but I
can be a voice, if I can help open up the conversation.
Like opening up. I remember like finding out I was pregnant with Louise and there was no heartbeat at the first ultrasound. And they were like, you should prepare for miscarriage. And like anybody who knows my week, he's a little shit. But like you get there and you're like all excited as like no heartbeat, an empty deflated sac, like looks like this. And they were just like, and I was like leaving for Ireland for my 30th birthday present was a trip to Ireland. And they're like, get ready. You might not carry all the way. And so like, you're like going on this trip and you're just like, oh my God, blah, blah. And like, I was like, don't tell anyone, like my whole family, like, don't tell anyone. And my dad, I remember saying to me, he was like, Jane, even if this doesn't go through, of course we're going to tell our family, like, we're going to be here for you. Like, and there is this weird thing, like, don't tell anyone to your 11 weeks, don't tell anyone to your 12 weeks, like, because God forbid you lose the baby and then you got to talk about it. Why wouldn't we? Like when somebody dies in your family, of course you talk about it.
Yeah.
Like this is a death and it is part of you. And like a friend of mine said, who's lost 5, said like, I remember each one. I remember the day they were born and I remember the day they should have been born. And like, as a woman, you would, as a mother and as a father, you would. And like, it's okay to say like, I'm pregnant and I'm scared. And like, yeah, maybe you don't tell like the world on social media, so you take it back, but don't be afraid to share it with people who like will also mourn it with you if that happens.
Yeah.
And I remember like, that was like so eye-opening to me. Like, yeah, who am I hiding this from? Because like, I'm certainly not going to be okay if this doesn't go well.
Right.
So it's a lot.
Well, yeah, maybe you and I didn't talk about this most recent one because you had texted me about your situation.
Yeah.
I believe. Right when I bought the new house and she was pregnant at the time. And I remember I wanted to like tell you, cause I don't know if you asked or if you were like,
yeah, because you had mentioned that you guys were going through things and you were worried.
Prior to that. And you're like, hey, how things going? Blah, blah. Like in the inside, like I knew. And I was like, I'm like, nah, not yet. Right. And, we went, so we had 2 appointments where we saw the heartbeat. this is what made the third one even harder than the first two, was because then we went to the third appointment, and this the time to hear the heartbeat, and there was nothing. And it's just for me, I mean, this one crushed both of us. This one was hard for me. And, to see your wife, like that again is something you don't ever want to do.
No.
And when I talk about these things, it's because I want women to, we won't move forward if we don't talk about it. Right.
Mm.
So if it takes me and if it takes you and just people knowing that, hey, this happens and it's okay to talk about it.
And it's okay to be broken for a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what it is. Like, people expect you to just be like, oh, well, it was only 9 weeks. It was only 9 weeks. It was only, well, like, it was only like all of my hope and love and wishes for this future thing. Like, that's not only something. And like, it is like such a, yeah, it is. And it's not, I mean, it is for a female, obviously, like, we feel down, but like, it is part of you. And like, I also think like you have to give yourself some credit and some slack of like, you lose too.
Yeah.
And
it's
stressful on a marriage.
And that's, thankfully my wife and I communicate, and I hope that's enough, because I always think about that. You never know, both, and it's both parties, are we both doing enough to be open to each other and get through this together? And I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned if I was there enough. And, it's such a fucking weird thing. And like, it just sucks because like we bought this new house, and it's bigger than what we had, and it was with the hope that we would be able to fill it. And and then now I see our son playing, and
Mm-hmm.
you just want to I just wanted to have somebody, for when we're gone, because we're not going to live forever.
Yeah.
And I just want that for him, So it's, yeah. So, yeah, life's crazy. Life is not what you're told it would be.
No, it's not. But it's, yeah, no, I mean,
it makes you who you are, though,
makes you who you are. And I think that our experiences give us the tools we need, and how we process those experiences is so critical. And, not to like get even more deep, but like, I think you processed a lot considering what you went through with your father, which gave you certain tools to be the husband you are today. Because
I hope so.
Like, quickly be such an incredible support to your mother and your siblings. And yeah.
One thing I say, and I've had, back and forth with my relationship with, God and faith and things like that.
Yeah, me too.
Because of, what I've gone through, specifically with my father being gone.
Yeah.
One thing I've said, and one of my best friends, I think you may know him, Chris Abbott.
Yeah. I went to high school.
Yeah, Chris. So Chris's dad passed away 8 months before mine did.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I've told him, and anyone listening, take this for what it's worth, but if you believe in God, maybe God did that to you, and maybe he did it to us because he knew that we could handle it. And maybe this goes the same way. My wife and I have I think a strong, healthy relationship, and, hopefully we can continue to get through it.
Absolutely.
But I mean, not everyone can get through those things. And it's not saying that they're weak or that they're, whatever. It's just sometimes people don't have the foundations others do. And again, that's not anything negative. It's just what happens with life. And, people break and maybe they go down the wrong path. I don't know.
Like, this is a whole nother podcast that, like, when you're done with the weekender thing, like, I'd love to do on like relationships and therapy and why it's so important to have your foundation so secure before you get involved with somebody else. And I do think you and Amanda have that, and you have had that. Like, you know who you are, you know what you want. You are like very dedicated to her and your family and where you are. And like, I have learned so much in this last 2 years of the shitstorm I've been in. And I'm not like blaming him or me or whatever, but like, I am doing some like intense work that I'd love to talk to you about another time. That is like mind blowing over like looking at situations in your life and processing them in the healthiest way. And like yeah. I mean, we're all like, figuring this out as we go. But as long as you can have a healthy outlook and like a healthy communication with your wife, and I'll never forget, and like, I don't know, you can cut this out if you need to, but when you were telling me that you guys were going through some of these things, and you said, my biggest fear is I'm afraid of losing my wife again and watching her crumble to almost nothing. And I think that is what people don't understand. It's like, you see them smile, you see her handing you your prescription, but you don't see her when she sits on the couch watching a show and not really watching it, because she's just sitting there with her own sadness and guilt and all of that. And there's nothing you can say in a lot of ways. And you are hurting too, but you just like aren't like feeling it to the degree, because it's not like your body, but you're still hurting too. And like, you want to be there, but it's almost like there's nothing you can say too.
There's nothing
you can say. And it's almost annoying if you try to say it. I hate to say it, like we can make jokes out of this, but like, I'm sure if you even tried, it's like, shut up, like, whatever, which is hard. So like, as the spouse, and I think even as a woman, I listen to you, and my ex-husband actually went through this with his first wife, infertility, terrible infertility. And it is like something like, as a woman, you have to say like, I'm sad and whatever, but like, I also can't lose myself in that, because I'm still a woman. I'm still a mom. I'm still she is a mom, and you're still a badass, and like whatever these things are, and you do the best you can. But at some point, it is sometimes like, at what point do I lose myself if I keep putting myself through this?
Right.
And it is like a hard line to run on.
It is. I just hope for the best.
It's a really hard line to go. You will have the best.
I have the best. I do.
You do.
I am beyond
Santa
blessed. What's that?
Santa coming?
Oh yeah. This is a fun year because you have two kids who are a little older than Lincoln is, and he understands who Santa Claus is. So it's like, you talk about him, he's like, is this guy for real? Like, is he gonna bring presents? Like, yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, buddy, I'm gonna call him if you fuck up.
You do the elf on the shelf?
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it.
I know. I stupidly was like, this is the year I'm getting divorced. I should be a super mom. No. Because every night, now thank God my phone goes like, move the elf.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like literally barely light out. And they're like, where's Ellie?
Jane, here's the thing. Here's the problem with being a parent. Like, you see all these things happen. Like, for instance, I remember before he was even born, it was maybe the year before, or like when she was pregnant with him, you see 5 million fucking trunk or treats for Halloween. And I'm like, you know what? We had one fucking night, and if it fucking rained, tough shit. If it fucking snowed, tough shit. You're going out, you have one night, right?
Yeah.
These fucking kids are fucking trick-or-treating with these trunk or treats for fucking
now
3 weeks.
You sound like an old fart. You realize that.
But seriously, it's like, this is too much, right? I'm like, my kid's never doing that, right? But you can't not do it.
Now
all his fucking friends are doing it.
Yeah, you got to do it. Well, yeah. Oh my God. Always. Like Mark and I would be like, my ex-husband, I'd be like, my kid's not going to be the kid that's playing soccer on Saturdays. And then all my friends who have kids are older, like, watch your daughter suddenly take to soccer and you're not going to join the soccer league on Saturdays.
You're
Give
fucked.
me a break. And you're fucked. You are totally fucked.
And I don't want to do
Your weekend's fucked. Your nights are fucked. Your whole life is around them.
Well, that's what you sign up for, right? But like this fucking elf on the shelf, I don't want to do it. But I'm worried that I'm going to have to because these other fucking parents can't
you have to. How old is he again?
He'll be 3, 2 days after Christmas.
Oh, yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Well, I have to say, Louise is going to be 5, and I just did it this year, and I could have gotten away with 1 more year.
All right. But like I'm like thinking to myself, like all these kids at school, not now.
The only good thing is you could be like, Ellie's watching, you better eat.
That's what I'm saying. Like there are pros. Like you can use it to your advantage. But also like
all my friends this year, nobody's listening this far in, but all my friends this year, several of my friends put a mask on theirs and said they were quarantined.
Yeah, sure. That's smart parents.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Because like my one friend was like, you move it every night? I'm like, well, yeah, isn't that the point? Why do they think there's like specials? She's like, I don't know, my kids never asked, so I never moved it. And I was like,
no.
Well, hey, if I believe that'd be fine. But mine expect every morning it's like, can we go look? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Shut the door. I just need another hour. Like, my God, it's like 5 in the morning. Go look. Goodbye. Anyway, this has been so fun.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. We'll wrap things up here. Jane, I will never shy away from the fact that The Weekender was some of the best times of my entire life. I've met people that obviously to this day I consider a friend, and thank you for your support and always taking a phone call or a text about good times and bad times. But yeah, The Weekender was definitely a special
one. The follow-up one is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, we had fun tonight.
Oh my God, yeah. But I mean,
it got a little heavy, but that's okay.
No, I like the heavy.
This is, like I said, I'm doing this for selfish reasons. This is for me. I hope it's for the guests. And if people listen and they get something out of, the stuff we talked about earlier, that's great too. But yeah, I mean, The Weekender was great. I met some great people. You're definitely one of them.
Very grateful for my time. I'm extremely grateful for your friendship.
Yes, likewise. And I hope, I know you're going through some shit now.
My Lifetime movie.
You definitely, your life is a Lifetime movie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know what? In the follow up to this, once everything's the dust is settled, we can talk more about that if you want to. But
we'll figure that out.
I wish you the best. I love you dearly as a friend, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Johnny.
All right. Take care.
Good night.